On this music production tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add locators in Ableton. This is really important and very useful for 3 different reasons. Now, first off, I am showing you my track, Mr. Beast. This is a new release about the YouTuber. I was making like a house record. I'm like, why not just call it Mr. Beast? Here's a mini preview. I know, some shameless self-promotion, so it sounds like this. I'll show you actually the second part of the first drop. So I tried to make like a funky house record, and then on the second drop, went for almost like a glitchy, like almost like a hard glitch style sound design. Kind of like funky dubstep. Right? But anyway, jumping into the main point of this video, as you can see, I have locators up here. What they do is they show you different points in your track. All you're going to do if I want to add a locator in, like say right here, for example, right click and click add locator and then put, I don't know, doesn't really matter. So as you can see, it is that easy. If I want to delete it, I just hit delete on my keyboard. That's pretty much it. This is very useful for mainly 3 different reasons, like I mentioned earlier in this video. 1, it allows you to locate that point in your track as it sounds. So if I want to go to the first part of the second drop, boom, I know it's right here because it's drop. If I want to go to the build before the second drop, if I want to go to the second intro part in the beginning, boom, it's right here. That's why this is very useful. You can jump around very quickly. The second reason is bouncing out my track. So if you notice, when I go here, I have end and Finn. Funny side note, Finn is actually a reference to Family Guy. There was one episode where Peter made like a home movie, and at the end, he just put Finn. So what I do is end means I don't have any other things in my track happening, right? As you can see, it's pretty much like a hard line. Fin is where I actually bounce it out from. So what I do on my master chain, I have a pre-master chain, which actually is the real master, quote unquote. And then on master, I have nothing. Sometimes an EQ just to kind of test some levels. But then right here, as you notice, I have it automated. So from end to fin, the volume goes all the way down to pretty much negative infinity or pretty much no audio at all. Here's why this is useful, especially using locators, is in this case, it's not as prevalent. I'll show you an example with this track. So if I play this, and then there's nothing, right? So it doesn't seem as useful for this particular track, but I'm gonna do this real quick to show you. Let's say I have a delay on this, and sometimes I like this kind of as a way to end off a song, as like a little cool like afterglow, if that's the right word. So it's gonna sound like this now. Right? So a lot of times, let's say if I have a lot of like atmospheric elements or whatever the case is, I'll have a bit of like a lag from end to fin, where even though there's no elements playing, so to speak, I still have some like, afterglow from like a delay, a reverb, whatever the case is. So that's why I like to use locators in this specific example, because it allows me to just quickly bounce something out, knowing that it's an exact hard cutoff when it comes to the audio, but I also have this nice little like lag period in case I have like a delay or some type of reverb tail or whatever the case is. Now, the third reason why locators are super helpful, and this brings up a whole other subject that I'll probably do a separate video about, and that is the power of the number 8. When it comes to a lot of music, especially in Western society, especially in electronic music, I mean, so many genres follow this. Every song, for the most part, most poppy top 40 songs, follow the number 8. So if you notice here, and this is kind of useful when I'm kind of planning out my tracks, is intro is 8 bars, right? 1 to 9. Intro 2, 8. Build, 8. Drop, 8. Drop 2, 8. As you notice, if I just zoom out again, it's all 8s except for this little one part, because this is more of a whatever I feel like is the best point to cut the song off and bounce it out in terms of the ending of the song. But besides that, the actual song itself is all based off the number 8. This is very useful for mixing, but also, whether people know it or not, we're kind of used to the number 8 in terms of, let's say, every 8 bar, something unique happens, or, getting more specific, every kind of division of 2. So if I play this here, you'll notice the ride comes in at 4, right? I'm skipping ahead, obviously, a little bit, but when playing this song, if I would play it here, right, we have new elements starting at, at the 9 bar, or basically, and then 8 measures after, we then have build, 8 measures after, drop. So everything's based off the number 8. So sometimes when I am making a song, it depends. It's like a very like situation by situation basis. But a lot of times I'll be like, okay, like for this song actually, I was like, okay, I definitely want 3 drop sections on the first drop. So what I do, I put in drop, drop 2, and drop 3 before I even start actually putting any, notes in here, any effects, any elements, whatever the case is. That way I'm like, okay, I can kind of plan it out. Like, okay, drop 1, main drop. Then I'm going to bring in some, maybe like stuff in the high end, like a ride, and a little vocal thing here on the second 8-bar drop designated by this locator, right? And then third part of this first drop, which I have located right here, I can quickly jump to. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to variate the synth. It might get boring after 2 8-bar sequences or 16 bars. So I'm going to do this, right? I'm changing up the actual, I should show you this real quick. I'm changing up the, not that, but the rate, right? So I have this kind of like fluctuating based off the LFO. So I know kind of like bouncing around all over the place, but having locators, like I said, is one, to actually locate that portion in your track. Is it the chorus? Is it the bridge? Whatever. 2, very useful for, again, bouncing things out at the end, at least the way I personally do it. And 3, very underrated, it allows you to keep that 8-bar kind of formula, which is very popular for electronic music, Western music, and a lot of different music styles.